Hello, I'm Mark.
I'm Casey.
And I'm Patrick.
And today we're going to talk a little bit about Hardware 3 and getting an update on FSD, but it may not be what you think it's going to be. But first, let's roll that title.
Press!
You came in at the last second.
I've got good news for everyone.
We only got fresh or something at the very end for whatever reason.
I unmuted well before I started talking. I don't know why it does that sometimes.
I'll have to look at the recording and see if it's any different. But
okay, weird.
Thanks so much for being with us today. We want to talk a little bit about Hardware 3 and what's going on. Apparently, there's going to be an update coming in by year's end. But
stop dead naming it, Mark. It's now called AI 3 retrospectively.
Okay. Yes, the new naming. Yes, understood. You caught me. But Casey, it's not maybe what we were expecting. What's going on with this update?
I guarantee you it's not what you expected, because they said they were trying to find a way and squeeze in 13 and this, that, and the other, and that those of us on Legacy would get the actually smart summon somehow. We didn't get any of that. So we're going to get another version of version 12 if you're on the AI 3 Hardware 3 train. You're going to get version 12.5.6 or 12.6, if I understood it correctly and memorized it right, instead of the 12.5.4 or 12.5.2 that we're on. And
so we're not going to get the new features that everyone's talking about with version 13.
That's not necessarily true either. We don't know
what's getting them right now. But that doesn't mean you're not ever getting them.
Well, no, we're talking about in this update. You're not getting
right.
This. But we don't know that for sure. There is a possibility that some of that stuff will end up in here. How much? I don't know. Hopefully, it'll have less trepidation in the rain and in the dark with glare from headlights, and in the daytime with sun and glare from headlights, and random stoppages. And as Brian from Future House pointed out, the smoothness of the stops and the takeoffs. We don't know what we're going to get. So I'm going to do just like I did with the holiday update and assume we're getting jack all. And that when we do get it, I can be gushingly happy with what happened. And put our post-an-X about it.
Like the cross behind you.
That one was really cool. I thought mine was making sound, but everybody else says theirs wasn't. So mine might have just been baby tired of 40 hours in the car, combined with wife's seatbelt minder, and then some other the doo-doo-doot error message sound. But it all lined up perfectly that there was a cross-traffic alert that popped up at the exact same time. And for those of you on Legacy with the vertical screens, it does look like it does in the release notes. I was thinking that they might have accidentally gave us a Model 3 screenshot, but no, we got that, which was cool. They seem to imply that this would be closer to what they got on 13, but I wouldn't hold your breath on it. Just again, so that we don't have a bunch of people who are just disappointed by it getting smoother and better, and being the best one we've ever had on this hardware. But it wasn't what we hyped it up to be in our own heads, because they're certainly not making any promises whatsoever from Tesla, other than they're going to try to get it by the end of the year.
Yeah.
Right. It's a difficult problem. So last year, when I was talking about getting a new Tesla, we talked about it on the show, and I said, I'm going to buy a Model Y, but I'm going to wait until they all have Hardware 4. Yes. And so that meant I had to wait several months until I was sure I was going to get Hardware 4, because that's all they were shipping and producing at that time. And so I have Hardware 4 now. And if you think about all the stuff that Tesla's trying to do with FSD, that and the inference engines that they have in there are by necessity low power. So they need all the hardware intelligence they can get, and maybe Hardware 4 will be enough, but maybe it won't. We're getting to the point. So I just got 13.2.1 earlier this week, and I've been using it and it handles the rain no problem. In the past, with the other version 12s and earlier, it would just give up whenever there was rain. And 13 was able to handle it like a champ. It still has some issues in the parking lot, but and that wasn't rain related. It was just I don't know. That I think they still need parking lot work. So, but I've been really impressed with it. And if they can figure out how to do it in hardware 4, then now you have to backport it to hardware 3, and maybe hardware 3 doesn't have enough memory or some other. A lot of the hardware 4 features have to be emulated in hardware 3. So can you compress the model down enough that you still have all the essentials that you need, and you can make it fit into hardware 3? That's going to take some time. They're now doing native hardware 4 tests. We'll have to see how it goes, but it seems to me that the writing is on the wall that eventually hardware 3 will no longer be supported, and if you are paying for FSD, you will get upgraded, and they'll find some way to make that happen, including new cameras likely.
Yeah, hopefully new cameras as well, because the ones we've got are a little long in the tooth, the low res compared to what's out there now.
Right, because otherwise they have to have trained models for the 2 different resolutions, and that's just more added work. Although with Cortex, they have enough compute power that they could be doing that. But it just seems like, why not get one and get it right instead of having these 2 different modes and 2
Especially
different training
for edge
sets, and or scaling one up or down to make it emulate the other.
Like there's still the problem that there is going to be some man hours rolled into multiple sets.
Exactly.
So if you can narrow that down in half or less, then of course you're freeing up engineer time,
right?
And that they can concentrate on the core problem as opposed to scaling it to a second or third system.
Yeah,
right.
Not just engineers though. We saw, what was it, 40 tests they run that they showed us before they actually release. They did now do it twice.
They have to. Cameras. Yeah, they have to run it through their simulations, hours of that. They have actually hired drivers in certain regions where they have things that they want them to test. Mm-hmm. And so are they going to have every driver have 2 vehicles? Go try it with hardware 3. Go try it with hardware 4. Wait, when they start shipping hardware 5, try that one too. Probably not.
Yeah, but not just that though. You've got also, so you've got the 4 vehicles today. You've got Cybertruck, XSY, and 3. So was that 5 actually? Yeah, and so you get the 5 vehicles, and then you'd have to add 4 of them with the whole separate set of cameras. So you've got the Model X already behaved differently because it was the biggest, and then you add in that the Cybertruck's got an extra camera, and it's even bigger than the X. So it would make sense in terms of the man hours and the compute homogeneity to also update the cameras if they update the hardware. But somebody pointed out today in a discussion I was in, it gave me a little bit of pause. It's like they might be onto something here. This is about the time they told us we would look at doing updates and maybe have them happen. That was kind of hinted at. That's right about the time that Elon said hardware 5 will be ready in volume. So would they
maybe get leapfrogged?
Yeah, leapfrog. Would you leapfrog it, or would you bother putting it in to only find out that we're going to do this with 4? Plus, there's the ability for them to do the distributed compute that they were talking about with AI5. That would then be on millions of cars rather than just all cars going forward.
That's
an interesting point. With Tesla's volume ever increasing, and maybe this year is a bit of a break even for the volume, but it's going to get prohibitively expensive to be updating people's systems, from 3 to 4, from 4 to 5. Every time that they do that, we've got a greater amount of cars that have to be outfitted, and the exponential costs of doing something like that. You got to be thinking that they have to be real cautious about hardware upgrades, because of course it's an ever increasing expense that's going to be hitting them if they determine that FSD will never run on 3 or 4, and we have to upgrade to something else.
So I suspect this was part of their calculus. I wouldn't be surprised to see that the hardware 4 cars came with some sort of documentation saying that they won't be upgraded for free, or at least not as discounted on the subscriptions anyway, on the as we saw with hardware 2, 2.5, and 3. But also, we saw they made a calculated decision to make 4 not fit in any of the 3.0 cars. Green said it was a couple millimeters, but also the existing Fords require the 16 volts or 48 volts of the low voltage or mid voltage of the new cars. So they're going to need a new board anyway to make sure that one, it fits in the liquid cooling slot of the all of the newer cars, and then the air cooled slot for the old S and X. So this is going to be interesting to watch it roll out, and at this point, if it's going to take long enough, might as well leapfrog us. Hey, come on, AI5. But
it could happen.
Yeah, it's gonna be fun to watch. We've been through this before, so we know it can be done, and we know that it's probably going to be a mess because how many 10% haircuts has the company had since the last time we did this?
Yeah.
Is anybody left that remembers the lessons learned from all of this? Did they write it all down? Because we've seen that Tesla sometimes doesn't have the greatest documentation. Sometimes it's phenomenal. And which camp was this in? Hopefully it goes better than last time and quicker. And this is how we got our cloud profile. Well, everybody who's not in Legacy got their cloud profiles. I got mine on my first cloud profile loaner. But that wasn't even at the beginning. That was because so many Model 3s and later Model Ys were getting their settings erased because for 3 and Y, the screen is remote from the boards. And so they were just taking your MCU boards and drilling holes in them and just chucking them in the dumpster. And there was no process to move your stuff over. So eventually they had not really a cloud base, but like the mothership would store what you had and then push it back down. And then they refined that even better to what we have today with the cloud profiles, where you get into any compatible car, your seat, your mirrors, your radio, your home, your addresses, everything comes back, which is really cool. But these are all things that were learned last time we did this upgrade process. So
yeah,
where it goes from there, and hopefully they get a cloud profile for us legacies, because I don't want to take 16, 20 pictures of all my settings to bring it in again. We didn't lose as much. We only really lost our FSD settings and calibration, whereas everybody else lost everything in calibration. But
when you have that seat right, you don't want anything to mess that up.
Exactly. Especially with my leg. My left leg just cannot. I don't know why.
Well, it's going to be interesting.
Yeah.
Like I said, it's Casey has mentioned we've done this previously. Tesla's got to be careful about the hardware upgrades though, because it is hitting their bottom their bottom dollar every time it does happen. But of course, the company has really gone all out for FSD working in a hopefully short period of time, because that's what they bet upon. They bet upon autonomy with the Cybercab and with other things. So it's something they have to get right. They've been working on it for years. We can see improvements. We can see advancements. But as Patrick has mentioned, we also see some questionable stuff, as Patrick has mentioned, about parking lots. There is some questions still out there. So more work still has to be done. It'll be interesting to see how long this actually does take.
It'll be cool. Rather than drilling holes in the MCUs or the FSD computers and chucking them in the garbage. They did keep some of them for like warranty returns and stuff, but most of them just didn't make it. For the air-cooled ones, it'd be really easy to do. Release a rudimentary SDK and a power supply kit and maybe a case, and then you can set it on your desk to practice as a recruitment tool for XAI and Tesla FSD teams, because now you'll be coding on real hardware with your practice tests. And then I don't know how they would handle the liquid cooled boards, maybe a pump to go with that the power supply, but that would be an easy way to get, just learn to code. That would be an easy way to get the next generation of AI inference coders ready to go.
Interesting.
Yeah, and there's a lot of uses for inference compute out there. Yeah.
They could donate them to schools, or we could buy them ourselves and say, this used to be the brain of my car. It drove me 150,000 miles. And now it's a desk ornament that I write code to.
Very good.
I'm sure there would be a large community of people.
Yeah, I'd buy one.
Well, with that, I think we will wrap up this particular episode. And let's start with Patrick. Any shout-outs?
I'm with the Oregon Electric Vehicle Association. You can find us at oeva.org, and I blog occasionally at carswithcords.net, where I write about my future free from fossil fuels.
Absolutely. Absolutely. Casey.
So on Sunday, catch us at youtube.com/Casey Green for Let's Chat with Casey and Friends, or about 1:10 Eastern. And then on Monday, catch us back here, same time, same place, for the Tesla Life Express Edition 2. And then same time, same place, but live on Wednesday for the Tesla Life.
Now, next Wednesday is Christmas Day.
Oh, you're right.
So we haven't discussed what we're going to do on Christmas Day, or what we're going to maybe delay, take a holiday. We will advertise in our Twitter feed and our X feed and let people know. So
also the following week then at New Year, right?
That's right. It'll be 7 days later. Will be New Year's Day.
That one's a little less likely to get stuff messed up, but we'll take a look at that as well and let you know.
Very good. So with that, we will get together next time and find out what's happening in the Tesla Life.